Hello viewers, welcome. Today we are going to discuss Hamlet as the tragic hero. So let's get started. According to Aristotle, a man doesn't become a hero until he can see the root of his own downfall. So, according to Aristotle, a tragic hero must recognize that he is responsible for his own downfall, and in the root of that, he is himself responsible for that. And there are six characteristics of tragic hero according to him. First is nobility or wisdom by birth. So that tragic hero must be a noble person or wisdom. He must have a wisdom. He must be intellectual by birth. Then next is a flaw or error of judgment, hamartia. The tragic hero must have a flaw or error of judgment or weakness. Because of that, his downfall is inevitable. Then a reversal of fortune, peripetia. There must be a change in his fortune. There must be a turmoil and reversal in fortune of that tragic hero. And the discovery or recognition that the reversal was brought about by hero's own actions and ignorances, and that hero must recognize, he must get the discovery that this reversal of fortune which is having in his life is because of his own action. He is suffering because of his own action, because of his own failure and weaknesses. Now, next is the audience must feel dramatic irony for the character. That audience and the reader must feel dramatic irony of that character, must get a taste to that character and feel for that person. Then the character's fate must be greater than deserved, and whatever fate that character is getting, whatever downfall he is getting, must be greater than what he deserved. He must not deserve so, but he is getting so. Now, introduction. Hamlet is a tragic hero in the true sense of tragedy because he died trying to accomplish his own goal of avenging his father. So, Hamlet is a perfect tragic hero, and he is a tragic hero who asked Horatio to let his story be known of how he conquered the ambitious Claudius, but in the process lost everything he loved, including his own life. So he let know his best friend Horatio that how he conquered ambitious Claudius. Here you can see Hamlet as the tragic hero. Hamlet is noble by birth and coming from royal family. He was Prince of Denmark. He is not totally good or thoroughly bad, but mixed kind of personality. He had weaknesses in character. He suffered from procrastination. He suffers from his tragic flaw, weakness, tragic flaw. His tragic flaw are hesitation, hubris, and fate. Then, when he says, "O wicked spite, that I ever was born to set it right," Hamlet is acknowledging that he is fated to act and tragic. So, here, he is tragic hero who asked Horatio to let story be known to how he conquered the ambitious Claudius. And of all the plays Shakespeare has written, Hamlet is his best and most celebrated play. And the play's main protagonist, Hamlet, is the most controversial and talked about character in the history of English literature. Hamlet is perhaps the most famous of all tragedies created by William Shakespeare. The main character, Hamlet, may be the most complex and controversial round character any playwright has ever played on stage. The best definition of a tragic hero is given by Aristotle in his Poetics, since he has brought the concept of tragic hero to the light. Aristotle contested in his Poetics that the tragic hero has to be a man who is eminently good and just, yet whose misfortune is brought about not by vice or depravity but by some error or frailty. Now, according to Aristotle, a tragic hero is a person of noble stature and has greatness, and the character must occupy a high status, high position, and in addition to that, the tragedy is usually triggered by some error of judgment or some character flaw that contribute to the hero's lack of perfection. So he is getting his fortune that fate because of that error of judgment and weakness. This character flaw is known as hamartia and is usually translated as a tragic flaw. The character Hamlet no doubt conformed to the tradition of tragic hero in the light of these points. Now, first discussion will be on high status. Like other tragic heroes of Shakespeare, he is not endowed with exceptional quality. He is also endowed with exceptional quality. Hamlet is, and he is like a royal birth, graceful and charming personality. Hamlet has a high intellectual quality, as Ophelia observes. Oh, what a noble mind is here overthrown. The courtiers, soldiers, scholars' eye, tongue, sword. So he was a great soldier, he was a great scholar, he was a eloquent speaker, he was a great warrior. These are the metaphors given to him by Ophelia. In spite of possessing all these qualities which rank him above the other characters, the flaw in his character, the weakness in his character, named as tragic flaw by A.C. Bradley, great critic and scholar of William Shakespeare, leads to his downfall and makes him a tragic hero. An important feature of the tragic hero is that he or she is a towering personality in his or in her state or kingdom or country. So he is a great personality in his kingdom. Hamlet was a prince of Denmark. This person hails from the elite stratum of society and holds a high position, often one of the royalty. He must belong to some royalty or some kingly family. Tragic heroes are kings, princes, or military generals who are very important to their subjects. So, take Hamlet for example. He was a prince of Denmark. He is intellectual, highly educated. He studies in Wittenberg University. He is a student of philosophy there, and he is a sociable, charming, and of philosophical bent of mind. The hero is such an important person that his or her death give rise to full scale turmoil, disturbances, and chaos throughout the land. When Hamlet takes revenge for the death of his father, he is not only killing his uncle but inviting his own death at the hand of Laertes. So not only he is avenging death of his father, and he is getting killed by Laertes, son of Polonius also. And as a result, and as a direct result of this death, his death, the army of 14 brass enters Denmark to take control. So there is a prince of Norway whose name is 14 brass. He is attacked Denmark, and now he is getting control of Denmark after the death of Hamlet. So here, not just Hamlet is involved, two countries are involved, 14 brass country Norway and Hamlet's country Denmark. Now there is a mention of England also. Hamlet was sent to England. So this is all is an international affair, not just an affair of Denmark, but a total international affair. Now tragic flaw, that weakness. The tragic flaw in the character of Hamlet is that he thinks too much and he feels too much. He often disturbed by his own nature of self-analysis. He is a person of self-analysis. He always self-analyzes himself, criticizes himself. He does lots of soliloquies. There are total 7 soliloquies in this is drama, to be or not to be. This flaw has resulted to different undesirable consequences. And a good example of hamartia can be seen in Hamlet, when Hamlet's faltering judgment and failure to act lead him to his untimely death. So, because of his faulty judgment, or because of his faltering judgment, he gets death, and untimely death. He was just 30 years old. Um, in one case, he finds an opportunity to Claudius while Claudius is praying. Here, Claudius is praying, and Hamlet is with his swords. sword. And Hamlet suffers from procrastination. That is, procrastination means postponement, delay. He finds a number of opportunities to kill his uncle, but he fails because of his indecisive and procrastinating nature. So he puts things to future. Every time he delays taking action. In one case, he finds an opportunity to kill Claudius, his uncle, while Claudius is praying. Still, Hamlet declines the excellent opportunity to attain his goal with the excuse that he doesn't want to kill a man while he is praying. So he wants to kill Claudius when he is in the act of sinning, and he is in act of sin, and when he is enjoying his incestuous pleasure. According to Hamlet, relationship between Hamlet's mother Gertrude and Claudius is incest. It is this perfectionism, failure to act, and uncertainty about the correct path that ultimately result in Hamlet's death and leads Denmark into chaos. So, and because of this, there is a decline of Hamlet, death of Hamlet, and because of this death, whole Denmark is put into chaos. His mother died, Gertrude died, his uncle died, Leotis died, whole royal family died, and then crown was taken by Prince of Norway. Similarly, Act 3rd, Scene 2. In confrontation with Gertrude, his mother, he had killed Polonius, thinking that it was Claudius. So he inadvertently killed Polonius. Here you can see the picture. He is killing Polonius because he is thinking that Claudius is hiding behind the curtains and listening to talk between mother and son. In return, deeply sorrowed by the death of her father, Ophelia was eventually drawn in river. So Ophelia was daughter of Polonius and love interest of Hamlet, and she was very much grieved by the death of her father, and she eventually got mad, and then she drowned in the river in that madness. Looking as it in the wiser's perspective, if Claudius had already been killed in the first place, Hamlet could have already been very successful with this revenge. Consequently, Polonius, who was not out to die, could have lived, as well as his daughter Ophelia, and in addition, Hamlet could have lived a longer and better life if he had not done so. So, because of his tragic flaw, Hamlet had to face his downfall. Here you can see Ophelia is drowning in river. Now conflict. Conflict is a major part of that hero, tragic hero, and conflict is both internal and external. Like other tragic heroes, Hamlet too had to face conflict, struggle, both internal and external. The internal conflict is between his moral scruple, principles, and the act of revenge which he decided to take. Love of his father. Hamlet loves his father very much. The dishonor of his mother and the villainy of his uncles prompt him to take revenge. While his nobility, he is a very noble person. His moral idealism, he is a very idealistic person. He is full of morality, and his principles and his religion. He believes in Christianity, where Christianity, revenge taking is sin. So, revolt against such an brutal act. The result is that he is stoned within himself and suffers mental torture. The external conflict is with Claudius, the mighty opposer. So, external conflict is in the face of Claudius and the murderer of Hamlet's father. That Claudius, his uncle, is a murderer of Hamlet's father. To Hamlet, Claudius is a seducer and a usurper of his right to Denmark's throne. So, according to Hamlet, Hamlet is rightful heir of that throne of Denmark, but Claudius has usurped that throne. He is one against whom he has to take revenge. Hamlet, for example, is confronted with external conflict in the shape of his uncle Claudius. He has to face, he has to take revenge, but as a result of his uncle's craftiness and effective security. His uncle Claudius is very, very crafty and clever, and since he is a prince, he has a full security, and Hamlet isn't able to translate his action into uh, ideas into action. This external conflict gives rise to internal conflict, which hinders Hamlet from taking any action. So there is both type of conflict, and one is leading to another. In tragedy, hero normally comes to the realization of truth of which he had been hitherto or previously unaware. So he is realizing things which he was previously unknown, and Aristotle called this a change from ignorance to knowledge. So there is earlier there was ignorance, then there is a knowledge now. Shakespeare Hamlet indeed undergoes a transformation, growth in vision and understanding, which makes him gain further nobility and stature. So his position is rising, he is becoming nobler, but this growth and self realization comes too late to avert his tragedy. The movement towards Hamlet's rejuvenation begins with his reflection on Player's speech about Hecuba. So, when there is a scene of play within play and murder of Gonzago, where he listened to the speeches of players, and when players gives a speech about Hecuba, Hamlet is totally rejuvenated. He is inspired to take revenge. Then it advances further into closer scene. He's further inspired in that closer scene where he's confronting his mother. Then it reaches its culmination in the graveyard scene, and he's totally now fully prepared to take on that Claudius. And he adds the readiness is all. He says readiness is all. He's ready to take on that Claudius. Most importantly, at any rate, Hamlet was able to achieve his main goal to kill Claudius. He is able to take revenge from Claudius. Thus, in the end, he was successful in taking revenge for his father. He is usually a doer. He is a doer, but over the course of the play, his indecision and frequent philosophical anxieties create a barrier to action. Actually, Hamlet is a doer, but he is suffering from indecision, is suffering from procrastination. Because of that, these things are creating barrier in the path of his action. Internal conflict is what caused Hamlet to spare the life of Claudius while he is praying. Now, conclusion. In the end, we can say that the character of Hamlet is portrayed in the play and, as advocated by the above mentioned qualities, can be regarded as a tragic hero. Hamlet is not known for his bravery and goodness. He is not known so much for his bravery and goodness. He is such a hero who wanted to do something right. He was always right. He was full of morality, but in the process of taking revenge, he keeps on making mistakes. He was continuously making mistakes. He killed Polonius inadvertently, one after another. His ambitions and accomplishments are coordinated by defeats and misdeeds. Hamlet is a character in which virtue and evil coexist. So Hamlet was such a character in which there was virtue also, there was goodness also, and there was evil also. He had lots of weaknesses, which a tragic hero must have. So this was the discussion about the tragic hero. And if you like this video, please like it and subscribe my channel. Thank you so much for patiently listening to me.